Good afternoon, it's Arthur Torella here. I'm posting my deputation to council from March 23rd that before they took me back to court, and I also now have put in the audio from the May 28th, 2012 settlement agreement before Justice MacDougall, who kindly gave me the audio and the PDF format, and I've now added it to here. Although I can't use it in court, we can use it on a YouTube video, and this shows how manipulative the lawyers were, and Rob Lamar with his minutia and comments that were made. Anyway, it's, again, you can't make this shit up. Enjoy.
Request he's had, and I paid all the fines, paid discharge for the work orders, and
that's the price of your mistake.
Yes,
okay.
And I paid that mistake.
So how do we then move ahead? And the township is saying, we'll give you a building permit. We need drawings. Just one at a time now. Help me out here.
Yes.
Is there a problem with the township asking you to do that?
Pardon me, Your Honor?
Is there a problem when the township says, Mr. Terrell, I want drawings? Is there a problem there?
I submitted drawings.
Okay. So you submit drawings?
Yes.
They say these drawings are not acceptable. You disagree?
No, Your Honor. I submitted at least 4 copies to improve, to show them a bit, and added to them. No matter what I did.
So you take it up to the Building Code Commission for a ruling on who's right here with these drawings.
I didn't get that opportunity, Your Honor, because we couldn't have applied for that until
who took it up to the Building Code
17th.
Commission? Is there...
Well, it's been twice, Your Honor, to BCC and spoke at the insistence of Mr. Trevor.
Your Honor, that's on a different application.
Oh, it's a different matter.
That's regarding the building permit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I thought it was affecting this one. Okay.
No, this has nothing to do with the garage.
Okay.
This has to do with the 12 by 20.
Yeah, I understand. No, I saw the ruling of the Building Code Commission, and I thought it had to do with this case.
No, this is the confusion, Your Honor.
So you provide drawings. The building code, the building inspector says they're not sufficient, and you say why, and they tell you, or they don't tell you.
I've had so many different views of what he wants, and when I corrected it, it'd be something else. And literally,
he's giving you a hard time. You're saying.
Well, that was because I embarrassed him back in 2008 when I told him my foundation was, I quoted from the building code, my foundation.
So now there's a real battle going on here.
Yes, it's been going on, as I said, for some time now. And
now you got lawyers.
Well, Your Honor, as I said,
okay.
Since Mr. Lamar didn't do this particular application.
Who did that one?
Young Mr. Reinhardt while he was away.
Well, tell me who these people are. I don't recognize you.
This is the young inspector that's been hired on.
Oh, I see.
And
okay.
He actually, my drawing was changed to go to the Building Code Commission, and he recommended I go back to my very original drawing that got canceled by this.
All right, but am I missing something here that at some point you decide to, okay, I'm going to go and have these plans looked at by...
That was for the garage.
Oh. Who's this other company now? What tab is that?
Fawcett Architectural. At the last hearing, Your Honor, on March 27th, there was... my friends may disagree with me, but I had understood that if there was a letter from a licensed BCIN confirming that the plans were acceptable, that the township would accept the drawings that Mr. Terrell had submitted.
Okay, so May 16th, I'm looking at the letter from Fawcett Architectural. You retain them. They're in Lakefield, it looks like. And so they send you a letter. Don't they raise some issues with the drawings?
No, Your Honor, they pointed out a few things that are minor details that would be, as I said, if the plans examiner, who happens to be the same person as the chief building official and the manager of the building, they would have pointed them out.
Okay, so they say,
Immediately.
once you're able to fix these items, you should then be able to make a complete application to this valley, provided you pay the building permit. Okay. So, from their perspective, Mr. Fawcett says, you've got to, well, no, he's listed some things here you got to do with their plans. Cross-section drawings, he said. Scale of drawings, he said. Provide a building code matrix, he says. Architecturally, you got to provide door sizes. So he's listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things that you have to do that you haven't done.
Your Honor, those are minor details that
Okay, but have you done those?
may or may not be required.
No, but Fawcett's saying, get these done.
No, yes, if you read that, Your Honor, it says that they may or may not be required.
Is that a big problem, getting those done?
Your Honor, provided that I have done them. They've been handed in. There's been a new application because there was a conflict over the cost of filing the application. These are actually 2 drawings.
Scale drawings?
These are to scale, well, Your Honor, to scale, I have every measurement on them.
Okay,
Precise
okay,
measurement.
okay. So you're saying, if I understand you correctly, what Mr. Fawcett said you needed to do to, I'll call it tweak your application or your drawings. Maybe tweak is too minor a word, but we'll call it that for the time being. You've done it. You've done it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Well, as I said,
And does the building inspector have those?
as far as I know, Your Honor.
Did you get an answer back as to?
I've never got an answer back.
So is that where we're sitting?
Well, I guess from the township standpoint, I'm not sure which iteration of the drawings that Mr. Fawcett looked at. The last set I had were dated, I hand dated them because I don't...
Okay, where are these dated? The ones you're
Your Honor,
over?
these aren't dated, but I'd be happy to let Mr. Lamar review them.
Right
now,
The last plan that I had, I believe,
This is, excuse me, this is not complex construction, is it? I mean, it's not building...
it's not complex, not completely complex, but it's exacerbated by the fact that construction that took place in 2008 didn't take place the way he was permitted. So the permit allowed for X and he did X plus. And then...
Well, there's no permit issue, was there?
There was a permit issued in 2008. So I know we're going back in history with this, but I'm just trying to give you a little bit of context.
Sure. Okay.
Certainly Mr. Charles is familiar to me. I got no grudge against him. I know
He perceives it differently.
He does. And clearly it's because I've been certainly critical of his capacity as a craftsman.
Okay. Just so you'll know, I've got a reporter. I'm required to keep a record for my purposes. You can't get the transcript. We're all off the record. If this goes to court, you can't say, in this meeting, somebody said this or the judge said that. You understand?
It's off the record.
It's all off the record.
Yes, okay.
So you can be as frank as you want, and you can't use any
No, I understand.
any of my comments in a court proceeding if the matter is on. Okay, carry on.
Yeah, so I had a difference of opinion as it relates to his capacity as a craftsman. And I've gotten that over time. And so we had a permit application in 2008, which didn't go very well. We had poor drawings. Essentially, I took it upon myself to add a horrendous amount of detail to the drawings to ensure that it got built right. Ultimately, he built it the way he wanted to, which was unfortunate. And we established that by virtue of his most recent application, which showed a completely different floor plan than what had been approved in 2000, in addition to the fact that it's purpose edition, right? So that's my experience to date. So, from my standpoint, it became very apparent that, I needed to ensure that Mr. Terrell accurately depicted what he actually built without permit, and as you noted, what he was supposed to build with a permit. Perfectly up to date before we anyway.
Okay, let me just jump ahead quickly. Do you know the Fawcett organization? I assume you do. In Lakeville? Are they new to the area?
They're new, Your Honor.
Oh, they are. Okay. Anyway, they've got some credentials apparently from architectural. Is that just a word, or does it mean they're architects?
It's a defined term that only be used by architects.
Yeah, okay, so we're dealing with somebody that should know what they're doing.
They should.
Okay, have you seen this letter
I have, yeah.
of May 6th?
So I certainly agree with his point that there are other things that are missing. I don't believe this letter is complete, right, in terms of describing exactly all the things.
Now, would you be prepared to talk to Mr. Fawcett and say, I think you should have this and that, and he can say why or whatever?
Always prepared to participate. Sure.
Well, wouldn't it be better if the two people that are supposed to know this stuff be chatting and see if they can get this resolved, and then at the end of the day say, okay, we counterback, because some of the stuff is discretionary, I take it, right? Everything. I mean, they couldn't create a building code to cover absolutely everything. You couldn't be able to carry it.
That's right.
So,
well, it's quite prescriptive, right?
Yeah.
It is very
okay,
it is very
so surely there's some way, if Mr. Fawcett's been in the business, he's got credentials to
those are the
get past it. So surely the two of you, I mean, this is the way the world works pretty regularly, isn't it? You sit down and there's some give and take and you come up with a compromise. And you're reasonably happy, they're reasonably happy, and you get a list, and then once it gets done, there goes the building permit. We're only at step one, the building permit. There's things that may happen after that. So if you're prepared to talk to Mr. Fawcett, and Mr. Fawcett's prepared to talk to you, and would you be prepared to see, let's say, Mr. Fawcett and the building inspector, Mr. Lamar, come to an understanding that they would recommend to you, that Mr. Fawcett would recommend to you, okay, we've had discussions and put all that other stuff aside, let's get down to practicalities here. We need this stuff, we need this drawing done, and here's the list here that Fawcett may say to you, okay, I've talked to Mr. Lamar into shortening the list. Instead of 15 items, we're down to 10, and these are what they are, and I think they're reasonable. Are you going to say, okay, I'm
Your
going to
Honor, the point comes down to Mr. Lamar is abusing the building code and using it for his own.
Well, we'll see what Fawcett says about that.
Clearly, it's written in the building code under section 3.2.5 that the owner is not required to submit registered drawings. They can submit their drawings as they deem fit.
I understood that was true.
Yeah, there's no dispute over whether or not Mr. Terrell has the authority to apply for permits and to draw the drawings himself.
If they're done properly.
Does he have the ability? Right?
Okay.
That's what the question is.
Okay. And he's saying you're picking on him. I mean, okay.
Would you care to review my drawings?
Well, they're not going to make any difference to me, unfortunately. But surely, if Mr. Fawcett, you've retained him, so he's got your interest
He's
letter.
for the letter, Your Honor.
So if he talks to Mr. Lamar, and Mr. Lamar tells him what the complaints are, and Mr. Fawcett gives him his response, and Fawcett says to you, yeah, they're taking a hard line here, and go ahead and just a second, go ahead and fight this thing. Or Fawcett say, may so these are legitimate concerns here from an engineering, architectural design point of view, and it's not going to be worth your while to fight it because Mr. Lamar is right, and he's going to be able to demonstrate that. And you can argue, well, you blew in the face, but it's not going to be worth your while.
Your Honor, it comes down to now his code of conduct, and that's why he filed an affidavit.
But you could fight that for the next 3 years.
Yes, Your Honor, and my point is...
See, but just think, Mr. Terrell, Mr. Ewert has got a meter running here that he's going to be building the township. And Mr. Palin may or may not be involved for a big insurance company that is worth $500 billion.
Yes, Your Honor. And
do you really want to get into that kind of a
homeowner wanting to fix my home?
But that's what we're talking about. No, you want to fix Mr. Lamar.
No, I don't. I sent in letters asking to let's not proceed with this. This has been going on, and there's been court appearance after court appearance without my knowledge.
Okay. Is there any way you have an assistant or associate in your office? We heard about
I've got two others.
I've actually...
Will you ever consider handing the file over to them?
I'm not sure that
They- No, but just for the optics, if you will.
I mean, we could do it in-house. To be honest with you, given my experience with Mr. Terrell, if they said anything negative, that would be conspiracy. Right? So what we have, I think, or what Mr. Terrell has provided is a third-party opinion, right, by Mr. Foster, who's, in my opinion, very, very succinctly suggested that, our position that there are things about the drawings that are missing.
Okay, but are you saying there's something else there?
Oh, clearly there are. I mean, Mr. Fawcett, again, I'm not sure what he was asked to do. I'm not sure what the scope of work he was asked to complete. I don't know what Mr. Terrell told him about all of the history in terms of the addition to the second story. All these things are germane still, right? To the application, and I don't.
But if you, I don't know how expensive what Mr. Fawcett's rates are, but if you were to, they're in Lakefield, where's your office?
It's just outside. We're 6 minutes apart.
So if Mr. Fawcett goes to your office, or you go to Mr. Fawcett's office, and say, it looks like this would be about a 20-minute discussion. I see your list. I've got some further issues, A, B, and C, and D, whatever they are. But I'd like your response, and then see if you can come up with a compromise, or Mr. Fawcett may say, yeah, now that you tell me this, I can agree with you, or not, or whatever. Wouldn't that get this thing back on track? To get the practicalities done?
Your Honor, Mr. Lamar just went on about the second story. I have no second story.
Well, I don't even, it doesn't matter.
This is my point. His interpretations...
No, but surely, this is... You know what you're building or built. Surely Mr. Fawcett would know if you told
He
him.
reviewed my whole house, went through and...
And he came there?
He came there.
So he knows exactly, okay.
And it's all according to code.
How much, what did this letter cost, if you don't mind me asking?
$200, Your Honor.
Oh, well,
And
we
my
just
point,
spent
Your
that
Honor, is we were requested to have
15
someone
minutes
with
ago.
a VCIN number to go and review the house, review my drawings.
Okay.
He's not only reviewed my drawings,
Okay.
he's reviewed what's built. I haven't built the stairs to the attic
Okay, you
because
know,
for safety reasons, I want to put a stair.
if I was a mediator arbitrator, I'd say, okay, we're having a meeting Friday or next week, and Mr. Fawcett's coming, you're going to be here, your wife's going to be here, you're going to be here, or somebody from the township. We may not even need the lawyers, they can stay home, and we're going to find out what exactly technically needs to be done for you to get drawings. This is not complicated.
Well, as I said, Your Honor.
There's a whole lot of other issues going on here.
Yes, Your Honor, and it's called the abuse of authority.
But it's too expensive to
And I agree,
go down
and
that
that's
road.
why I couldn't hire a lawyer. I was actually, my wife called lawyers and was told by a Lakefield lawyer, Rob Lamar and his crew, you go to your knees and beg mercy. That's what I was told by a lawyer. And it's...
We could probably guess who the lawyer is.
They thought he tried to say things.
Now, any other municipality would have an engineer architect on staff.
Okay.
No.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Anyway. Mr. Crow, you see, you walk in and you're the one on the knees to start with saying, we used to say in church, mea culpa, mea culpa. Remember that? Forgive me, I've been a sinner.
Yes.
That's where you start. Because you know this area, you know you're supposed to have a building permit.
And
You
you're
build
right.
without a building
I
permit.
haven't done that.
I
I
know.
have 84 emails back and forth begging and asking him to put aside our differences and
Okay.
please move forward.
Okay.
And I've even asked Mr. Lamar to have someone else review the drawings.
Yeah.
He refuses.
Well,
Your Honor, I think the suggestion you're making, it makes a lot of sense, and I think
Okay.
we need a clear answer from Mr. Terrell of whether or not he's agreeable to that suggestion. Or would you-
Okay.
Having to do sit down with the mediator and
It's not a meter, people with the township and somebody other than Mr. Lamar who can approve the drawings and review them. Is that something that you're suggesting, Your Honor, and would the other side be agreeable to it?
sorry, Mr. Fawcett's going to be there?
Yeah, Mr.
I
Foster?
don't know, I can't speak to Mr. Foster, Your Honor.
Well, you'd have to hire him.
Yeah.
I hired him to do this.
No, but you'd have to hire him to be
I
there.
was under the opinion that's all that was required, and the minor changes that he's mentioned are,
No, but he's seen the building, he knows exactly what it is,
Yes.
but, I mean, we can go back and forth, but I think a sit-down, half an hour, would probably at least clear the air as to what the reasonable requests are to have these drawings complete enough for a building permit issue.
yes, Your Honor, I'm agreeable to that.
Am I missing something? Well, I know I'm missing a lot, but I don't want to know.
Yeah. I guess from my perspective, what I've been reluctant to do is to provide Mr. Terrell with a complete list of every single thing that's wrong with the drawings. That's not the business we're in. We're in the business of reviewing competent drawings
Yeah.
done by either landlord.
Satisfactory drawings.
Satisfactory drawings. And adding minor details, right?
Okay.
When we get something to, that we receive, which is completely out of scale, which is missing very important information, I'm not inclined, especially in this context, given how it started, with respect to the fact that it started without a permit and that there are a number of other changes that happened to the building, I'm not about to spend an awful lot of time providing him with minute details about what he needs to do. That's tantamount to my doing the drawings, right? And we just don't have the time and inclination to do that.
So you have to tell them what the deficiencies are.
We've told it in picture terms, provide scaled drawings, provide details, relevant details.
Okay, but would you be prepared to, like, you've got Fawcett's letter, what else is there to satisfy you?
I guess what I'm being asked to do is to do just what I...
No, but wouldn't that be
Provide
appropriate?
minutia. I mean, I could go...
No, but if you want minutia, and you're saying he's got to provide minutia, he's got to know what it is.
Qualified people know what to provide. They know what to draw. They know what to provide. What's required?
No, but we're not building a CN Tower here. We're building
Exactly, Your Honor, this is the issue. Your Honor, this going back to minute details of drawings, I requested from this Valley drawings of...
Who's that person?
This is the CAO. I didn't know about the CAO. And
Who's that?
Chief Administrative Officer for the
Oh,
municipality.
is that like a city clerk?
It's one up on the municipal,
Okay.
yes, and Mr. Terrell has decided that he would contact her directly
Yeah,
to...
but she doesn't do building.
No, she does not. She administers
So,
the municipality.
my point was that there was when I applied for my application for my garage permit, Mr. Lamar went on about costs and additional cost on this, so I had her review it all, and the township owes me
Okay,
$37.
I'm going to give, we're going to take 5 minutes to talk to each other and see if there's any procedural agreement as to where the parties, it's not going to be a court order, it's just going to be the parties are proceeding to A, B, and C to see if they can resolve it. So it's just an endorsement like they'd be on a pre-trial memo, but it doesn't affect the litigation. The litigation is still hanging out there. Okay, so I'll give you 5 minutes, and I'll just see counsel in chambers.